Okay. Hello, my name is Maddie Barbie, and I'm a member of Troop 10258 in Ohio. I built birdhouses in order to complete my Take Action project for my Think Like an Engineer journey, so I will share with you why I did so and what I did to do it. First of all, why birdhouses? Birds have plenty of trees to build their nests in. Well, not quite. Many birds build their houses in dangerous conditions, especially in my town where there are lots of stray cats. Lots of trees here are small and skinny, or the branches are too far off the ground and pose a danger to baby birds learning to fly. Birds have very small, very hollow bones, so taking a big fall, especially as a baby, can possibly be fatal for the bird. Therefore, building a safe environment for the birds where they are protected and not too far off the ground is important for their survival. Moreover, according to the Audubon Society, bird populations are rapidly declining, with more than one-third of U.S. bird species in the high or moderate conservation concern zone. 42 species are in the red alert zone, including Allen's hummingbird, the salt marsh sparrow, and the tricolored blackbird. Creating safe homes for these birds to reproduce and raise babies will be crucial to the repopulation. This is a graph you can find on the Audubon Society's 2025 bird population report. As you can see, grassland birds and airland birds are not doing too hot, having lost almost 50% of their population. Second, why not bird feeders? Well, for starters, they tend to not be very sustainable. Many squirrels and other animals can get into a feeder quite easily. Most feeders are also not very durable, typically being made of plastic or those little toilet paper ones you make in preschool. While it is a good thought, many birds can become dependent on the feeder, so they never learn to hunt for themselves. There is a reason many pigeons are comfortable around humans and don't fly a lot. It's because they've become too dependent on humans to give them handouts that they lose most instinct and can even become overweight and sick if fed the wrong things. This isn't to deter you from making feeders, though. They can be great if you're a bird watcher. Just make sure the same birds aren't visiting the whole time you have one out. Overall, birdhouses are just more sustainable in the long run for a Take Action project. Last, why are birds important? They just fly around and look pretty, right? Wrong. Birds are actually quite essential to pollination, fertilization, and pest control. According to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Organization, many birds possess characteristics that make them excellent pollinators, such as long curved beaks and the ability to hover. Some birds that are found in the U.S. with these characteristics include the ruby-throated hummingbird, the white-winged dove, and many different kinds of orioles. Like bees, they visit lots of flowers in search of nectar. While visiting these flowers, pollen and seeds can get stuck to the bird and spread around to other plants, which helps with fertilization. Another thing birds produce that helps with fertilization is their excrement. Like many other animals, it is often used as a natural fertilizer. Last, many birds help with controlling insect species. They mainly eat bugs and little nuts and seeds. The insect the bird is most known for is eating the worm. Many different species do go after other annoying and less useful insects, though. For example, the oriole and European starlings are known to eat wasps, which I'm sure nobody likes. Bluebirds, swallows, and woodpeckers are also known to dine on the pesky mosquito. While many insects are beneficial to the environment, many are not, like mosquitoes and wasps. Next, I'd like to go over different types of birdhouses you can make. There's actually lots of different styles and ways to make one. For example, the type of house you're likely most familiar with is the classic pentagon shape. It has a roof shaped into a peak, which makes up the top point of the pentagon. The sides go straight down, but you occasionally see them slanted in, which creates a more pronounced pentagon shape. You'll see this type most often because they tend to be fairly aesthetically pleasing, which makes them more popular. Resident chickadees usually use these kinds of houses. You just need to make sure the hole is big enough for the bird to get in. There are even types of houses that aren't technically houses. For example, robins prefer to nest on ledges rather than enclosed-in environments. Ledges are quite easy to make, as all you really need to do is create a box with no front or top. Blue jays and mourning doves also tend to use these ledges rather than a traditional house. Bluebirds, however, prefer nest boxes, which are more in the style of what I built. These nest boxes typically need a smaller entrance to prevent the boxes from being taken over by sparrows. Nest boxes are one of the easiest houses to make since you can make one from one piece of wood quite easily. Last, some types of birds, like the purple martin, like to nest in colonies. What this means is basically that there are just many tiny little houses put together. Think of a colony in a bird neighborhood. Yeah. You don't even have to build this one, as a couple of sites recommend taking gourds, cutting holes, and stringing them together to create these colonies. Next, how did I create these houses? Well, I didn't come up with the blueprint from scratch, but I followed a tutorial on YouTube. I used one cedar fence picket, lots of screws, a drill, hinges, a circle saw, wood glue, and a dowel to make these. First, you need to measure your wood out. My back piece was 15 inches, my roof piece was 7.5 inches, my front was 9.25 inches, My sides were 10 1/4 inches, and my bottom was 4 1/8 inches. Second, you have to cut them out. My dad cut most of my wood since power tools are a bit scary, and I worked on putting together the other houses. After you've cut them out, you can begin assembly. What I ended up doing was gluing the sides and bottom down to the back piece and letting it dry while I attached the roof with hinges. Once they dried, I screwed on the pieces through the back. My screws were about 2 to 2.5 inches apart from each other. Next, you need to cut out your hole for your birds to get in. I used a circle saw here. It's an attachment you can get for your drill that allows you to cut out perfect circles from pieces of wood. I eyeballed the circle to be about in the center of the front. It was about 1.5 inches across, so that should fit most birds. I'm hoping for some sparrows in these houses so that the bluebirds will finally be able to live in their own houses. As I mentioned before, sparrows have a tendency of taking over the bluebirds' houses. I hope that they'll eat some more mosquitoes and other annoying bugs in my town park so that people will have a better time there. Once that was cut, it was time to attach the front to the birdhouse. I put down 4 screws, 1 in each corner, through the front into the side pieces. The wood tends to crack and split here, but I repaired it with some plastic wood. Instead of screws, you could also use nails, which is what I had to do for one of the houses since the wood was incredibly thin. One issue I faced while putting these together was the hinges. With the bottom and sides glued on, I couldn't get the drill inside the house as I was originally planning to put the hinges on the inside. So the hinges were moved to the outside, which allows it to have a greater range of openness. The house made of the thinner wood was also an issue as the screws were too big. Putting 2 hinges on the other houses would have pierced through the wood, so I opted to instead only put one in the middle and assemble it with nails. So once your front is on, you're done. You can put it up anywhere you like. As for me, I reached out to my town's park board and asked to put 2 up and gave away the other 3 for people who may be interested in bird watching. Birdhouses are an easy project anyone can do as long as they're old enough to operate power tools. Just be prepared to think like an engineer when you encounter a possible problem. So, thanks for watching. I hope this video was educational about birds and different ways that you can help them, such as putting up feeders, building houses, or even just learning more about them to help the Audubon Society in their conservation efforts.